It's See It to Believe It month on Oz. Today, imagine giving birth 1 hour after finding out you're pregnant.
What went through your mind?
Plus, Wendy Williams takes a stand against the #1 killer in women.
So why is this a passion project?
And the Hollywood couple who chose to be celibate.
I was celibate 10 years.
What do you do for 10 years?
You work out a lot?
Coming up next.
We'll save lives today.
You guys ready to get healthy?
Today's show is all about the stories you've been reading in the newspaper, online, and you shared on social media. They are the hot topics in the headlines. We're going to begin with a medical mystery you got to see to believe. A 47-year-old woman who gave birth just 1 hour after first learning she was pregnant. Then, you will find out all about this. It's actually much more common than you think. Then, it's Go Red Month to support a cause that's literally close to my heart disease. And today, this disease has met its match because guess what? My friend Wendy Williams is here to tell us why she's taking on the #1 killer woman. And then we've got the actress who chose, listen carefully, abstinence before marriage. Find out what she thinks every woman can learn from her experience. But first, you guys are curious. Let's talking about that 47-year-old woman. Her name is Judy Brown. Now, most women have 9 months to prepare for the birth of a child. But Judy gave birth to her daughter, Carolyn Rose, just 1 hour after learning she was pregnant. Take a look at her remarkable story.
It all started when Judy woke up at 1 in the morning with severe abdominal pain. When the pain persisted later that morning, Judy's husband, Jason, rushed her to the hospital, where she underwent a series of tests. And that's when her doctor revealed the mind-blowing news. Judy was pregnant. Judy was rushed to the delivery room, and 1 hour later, Carolyn Rose came into the world, weighing in at 8 pounds 2 ounces. Judy and Jason's first child after 22 years of marriage.
Please welcome Judy. Within 1 hour of arriving at the hospital, she gave birth to her daughter, Carolyn Rose. 1 hour. What do you remember about that hour?
Not a lot. A whole lot of changes going on, trying to figure out what was happening and what am I going to do now and how did this happen?
Well, you probably figured out how.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I was trying to do the math and figuring out things and trying to understand why I would be pregnant when I've been married 22 years and 47. Why is this happening? I'm like, it just didn't make sense.
So when I first heard your story, I was listening to women talking about it. And the biggest question, of course, everyone has is, how's it possible to not know you're pregnant when you're 9 months into it? Did you notice any symptoms, even in retrospect?
Well, a lot of the things were similar to getting older, and I didn't have morning sickness. I didn't, change my way of life at all. It didn't affect me too much. I only gained about 18 pounds, and I've done that before.
Right.
I've been up and down, so that didn't, really affect me. I ran 3 5Ks throughout the year. I helped a friend move in October. So.
Had you ever tried to get pregnant before in those 22 years of marriage?
We never really tried, but we didn't not try. We just, if it happened, it was going to be a blessing. If it didn't happen, then we were okay. Because we were happy with each other.
Well, speaking of blessings, it's almost biblical, right? You go your whole life, never had the fortune of it happening, and all of a sudden, it sneaks up on you.
And it's wonderful. It is wonderful.
So this is a condition called cryptic pregnancy, which you probably are a world expert on now, but I want to...
Now, I'd never heard of it before, so...
So you're all listening and you're watching, you're probably saying, oh my goodness, this is sort of crazy, and yes, obviously you're lovable and you have answers and it sort of makes sense, but you would know better, right? I mean, you would not walk around with a baby in your belly for 9 months. But cryptic pregnancy is something that's actually defined as someone who's 20 weeks pregnant and doesn't know it. So most of the way there doesn't know it. You know how common it is? 1 in 450 women. That's 9,000 of you a year. 9,000 are more than halfway through the pregnancy and don't even realize it, which is why I felt so passionately about your story, because it's actually so much more common than you would think. So I want to spend a little time proving that what you went through is something that a lot of people are experiencing and feel so awkward about it. I don't want it anymore. I want you, in fact, to find out about it when you need to so we can start addressing it. So I'm going to show everyone a picture of you, Judy, when you're 6 months of pregnant. Look at this picture. You all see that? And would you think that woman was pregnant? How about this one from when she's closer to 8 months pregnant? I mean, would you walk up to her in the store and ask if she was pregnant? I mean, you probably shouldn't do that anyway, by the way, but...
No.
Right? I mean, I must say, I look at that and I think, oh, my goodness, that's a pretty normal looking. Yes, you're right, 18 pounds. People gain that in a year all the time and lose it again. Many of us have done that a bunch of times. Come on over here. I want to show everybody why this happens. How could a baby hide from you? And it all starts inside your belly, of course, 'cause that's where the baby is. Now, let's talk about normal, which you're not, by the way, which is a good thing in some ways. But
I'm special.
You're special. So normally you go in there, and the uterus is angled forward. There's the bladder, and the baby grows and grows. And guess where the uterus goes? It goes way out in front. But what if the uterus is cranked back? Now, instead of going out, it goes up. This backwards rotated uterus is actually not that rare. It even happens a lot of times after you've had a baby. It sort of flips the uterus backwards. So if you happen to have a uterus that's more in this orientation, it'll push up into your lungs, not out through your belly button. Now, most women have 9 months to prepare for a baby. You had 1 hour. 1 hour. I mean, who'd you call? Did you order clothes? Did you get a crib? What did you do?
I have a lot of good friends. We called my niece, who's with us today. She's helping with the baby. And my good friends, Mary and Carol, were right there. And they all gathered together, got the word out. And before I left the hospital, I had the car seat for her. I had the bassinet for her.
These are all donated from friends?
All donations.
Oh, my goodness.
And within 2 weeks, I had a baby shower.
A baby shower. Eventually.
Thursday at 2 in the morning, the day after I had the baby, they were discussing a baby shower and had it planned.
God bless them. So are we allowed to meet the rest of your family?
Oh, yes.
All right. So they're everyone back. I want you all to meet Judy's daughter, Carolyn Rose, and her husband, Jason. Come on out. Oh, my goodness, she's wide awake. Oh, my goodness. Can I steal a kiss? May I?
Yeah.
She's like a candy bar. Oh, my. So, Jason, how's fatherhood?
Good.
Grows on you.
Yeah.
Oh, let me hold him, or her. I just have a grandson now, but that's so much. This is the best thing in the world. Oh, it's the best thing in the world. So how's it changed you?
It's humanized me because I'm someone that you could say if you talk to my friends, I don't smile, I don't laugh, even though I do kind of on the inside, but it's not who I am. But when...
It's all right. I'm well trained. I got it covered.
But in general, a lot of them that knew me would see like a crack of a smile, and when I say a crack, it's literally a crack, but other people would look at me like, you don't
she
look
gets
happy.
a smile.
But I do like, when I'm with the baby alone, a lot of times,
She gets him to smile.
she just humanized me so much that you wouldn't know who I was.
Well, she got her smile from somebody. So somewhere inside of both of you, it's coming. I gotta say, it's such a blessing. And I'm so happy you're here. But here's the guys, I still think a lot of you are figuring this can't really happen to me. 1,600 women a year, just like Judy, won't know they're pregnant until they actually give birth. So the question you want to be asking yourself is, would you know the signs if you were someone you know was 9 months pregnant? We're going to check that out when we come back. Stay right there.
Next, could this medical mystery happen to you? It's more common than you think.
Studies have shown that it can happen to anybody.
Meet more women who didn't know they were pregnant, but were. We'll examine all the symptoms that cause a cryptic pregnancy. Coming up.
We told you about zero-calorie foods. Now what's up with negative calorie foods?
As soon as you start eating them, you start getting this extra burn.
Can you really chew your way thin? And the dangerous diet trends you have to see to believe. All new Oz.
That's coming up on Monday.
talking to women who didn't know they were pregnant, even though they were. Joining me is OBGYN Dr. Jessica Shepard. She diagnoses and delivers babies all the time, and she's done that with over a dozen women who didn't know they were pregnant. So how does a cryptic pregnancy, now give her applause, she deserves it. How does a so-called cryptic pregnancy, one that's not known by the mom, differ from a more traditional?
So I think that most of the difference comes after or during the delivery and the diagnosis, because it's obviously a surprise. And so a lot of that has to do with counseling the women on, one, how they're going to deal with a newborn if it's just at the delivery, or how to have a normal pregnancy, because it's diagnosed after 20 weeks. So you really want to make sure that they're incorporating all those good things into the remainder of their pregnancy or after the delivery.
All right, so I'm going to just show you all an example. It wasn't hard for us to do this. We asked another mom to come to prove it could happen to you. Joining me now is Katie and her daughter, Ella. Ellie is just about 1 year of age, and mom did not know she was pregnant. So I'd love to hear your story as well. I don't want Judy feeling alone over here. So when did you find out you were pregnant?
I went to the hospital all day long. I was there and with extreme stomach pain, and around 10:15 at night, after being there all day, I went in for an ultrasound and I had birth at 11:06.
That quickly? Yeah. And look what happened.
I know.
How big was she?
She was 10 pounds, 2 ounces.
So we're not talking about, 5 pound, 6 pound kids here. These are, this is and she's a year old. She's going to be a big girl. Beautiful, by the way. So looking back at your 9 months of unknown pregnancy, any clues, any tip-offs?
I mean, I've always been a little bit irregular, but other than that, there was nothing to make me think that would even be an option.
And she's your first baby?
Yes, she is.
God bless you.
Thank you. She's wonderful.
Thank you for sharing your story. All right, so let's get through some of the science on this. What's the medical reason why someone wouldn't know they were pregnant, even if they were 9 months pregnant? So what causes a cryptic pregnancy?
What causes it? So again, it's women who are going to have irregular cycles, usually. History of infertility, that's probably a big one. People who don't expect that they're going to be pregnant and all of a sudden they're pregnant, they a lot of times don't know what to look for, or they've kind of given up, so they're not even really looking into that. Perimenopause, so women from their 40s until they're 50, until you're menopausal, you do have a chance to become pregnant. And then recent pregnancy, so kind of like me, I just delivered 5 months ago, so that is out of my mind. That is not even close to being my mind, but a lot of patients show up and they come to the doctor for a checkup, and guess what? They're pregnant.
I'm going to ultrasound you immediately.
Yes, absolutely. Right after this. And then breastfeeding. So breastfeeding is a big reason why women do breastfeed, is so that they can kind of thwart off conception. But really, if they're not doing it exclusively all the time, they have a chance of becoming pregnant, and it can happen. I've seen it happen before.
And then you've got reasons why women may be irregular, unrelated to pregnancy.
Physiology of their body. So if you have someone who's like a triathlon or a very high athlete, low body fat, so their cycles again are irregular, so they're not anticipating pregnancy. So if they miss a few periods here and there, it's not abnormal to them and they can become pregnant. And then women who just stopped using some type of birth control, whether it's the pill, it's the IUD, again, they're not as, they were taking birth control before, so they think, I'm not going to get pregnant, or it might take a few years before I get pregnant after birth control, but not the case.
No long-lasting benefit. All right, so now we understand why it happens. And,
yes.
and that sort of makes sense. You're confused, you're not sure, you don't think it's possible. What are the signs, the tricky signs of pregnancy that fool women? Because a lot of times they actually are getting really good care, and they're still getting missed.
And I think that people have, a misconception of who this happens to, but studies have shown that it can happen to anybody. So again, if you go to the doctor, you're not anticipating it, they check it randomly. One, you can have the urine pregnancy test at home that might give you a false negative. Okay, so something wrong with that. But also at the doctors, you're not anticipating pregnancy, you're a little bit too early in the game, and it doesn't pick it up.
So if a woman watching right now has taken a urine test, and it's negative, it doesn't guarantee that she's...
It does not, because you never know where you are in conception. So you may need to check 2 weeks later, another 2 weeks later, go back to the doctor for a blood test. Finding it in the blood is a very good way of knowing that you're pregnant.
And this is continuing. This is confusing to me anyway.
I see this all the time. Continued period-like bleeding. So people who have a history of maybe PCOS, or they have abnormal periods, have this on and off kind of cycle. And so when that continues through pregnancy, because they have sloughing off of the cavity inside, it can be very normal in pregnancy, but not normal for them.
And then they lack the classic signs.
They don't
morning
have
sickness, Judy
Yes,
mentioned.
the morning sickness, the breast tenderness. Maybe they attribute it to bloating. They think, oh, maybe I just had a little bit too much to eat, and there you are. You have a little baby growing in there.
So we've just panicked most of the women in America.
Yes.
If they're sitting at home and they put on a few pounds, they're not sure, things aren't quite fitting, what do they do to make sure they're not pregnant?
So any reproductive age women, if you're not in menopause, pregnancy is something that unless you rule it out, it should be considered whether you're going for surgery, whether you're going for a dental procedure. Sometimes you might need to check if you're pregnant. So if you think you're pregnant, not you necessarily, the women in America, they should obviously take another pregnancy test at home and also consult a healthcare provider that they feel comfortable with that would be willing to do the ultrasound or the blood test that they think they need if they feel that they're pregnant, but it's not showing up classically like we expect it to.
Thanks for the advice and congratulations on your little one.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks for all the stories. We'll be right back.
Coming up next, daytime diva Wendy Williams talks about something close to her heart.
There comes a point in every woman's life where she's got to take charge of her health.
What she wants you to do to combat the #1 killer of women in this country. Coming up next.
Our nation is in the midst of a women's health crisis. And today I'm wearing red to support a cause that's literally close to my heart. Heart disease. In fact, if you look around, I'm surrounded by an audience and lots of nurses here who are deeply caring about this issue. So, who else can make you aware of the #1 killer of women than a woman who has taken control of her heart health? My good friend, Wendy Williams. Come on out. Oh my goodness, you look good.
Thank you, Oz.
She stuck the red in there.
Thank you, doctor.
You like this audience in red? All these nurses.
I
great?
see. Hi, everyone. Beautiful.
So why is this a passion project for you? I'm so proud you're involved.
Well, there comes a point in every woman's life where she's got to take charge of her health. And I do have a history of heart disease in my family, as most of us do.
Yep.
It might not be a lot or a little or something in between. But, I want to live.
So what are you doing to live? What do you do? You look fantastic, by the way. I
Thank
love
you.
all the things you've done.
Thank you.
Specifically for your heart.
Well, unfortunately, I don't work out 20 minutes a day, which I know that that's a part of it.
Yeah.
But I do work out, I try twice a week.
It's good.
By
the way, that's most of the benefit is twice a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I don't eat meat. I don't smoke.
How long have you not eaten meat for?
Since July.
That's good. That's fine.
But I don't eat meat, and I try to live a clean lifestyle. I take supplements and eat lots of vegetables, and I think that I live on the more positive side of life.
Was there a time that you remember just not caring about that at all? Where it just wasn't on your radar screen?
Yeah, in my 20s, like most 20-somethings.
Yeah.
Party, career chase, and bad food.
Well, it gets us some ways through life, but it doesn't take us as far as we want to go. And
Right.
if we want to thrive, especially as we get into our 40s and our 50s, you want to make sure the heart's #1.
Yeah.
So I spent, as you know, we launched at the same time. That's why I love her.
Yes.
She's like my sister.
Yes.
In television.
Same time, 7th season for both of us.
Yeah.
But you're right about that age thing. When I turned 50, it really did hit me that, oh my gosh, I feel 18 and I want to live. So let me do something.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's yours to own at that point.
Yeah.
The first half of your life, your parents gave you sort of with your genes. Second half is up to you. And for the last 7 years, I've been talking about the fact that the heart is probably the best barometer of how you do it. So we're going to start it off today with a quiz. And Wendy's going to lead it because she's like an expert on this topic. So come on back. She's going to ask all of you 5 questions.
Okay.
And all you got to do, audience, is honestly stand if the answer to the question is yes for you, and then stay standing for the rest of the quiz, okay?
This is good.
All right, all you there in red, you pay attention. You're nurses, you know this stuff. All right, you gonna read them away? Let's put them up in the air. Quiz question number 1.
Get less than 20 minutes of exercise, of moderate to vigorous exercise every day. Who's that?
Okay. If you're not doing that, stand up. If you're
Don't
not
be
doing that.
embarrassed.
Well, that took about half the audience out.
Oh my gosh,
goodness.
we're dying.
And the only man over there got taken out too. All right. So next quiz question.
Okay. Drink more than 1 serving of alcohol per day. Stand.
No, keep standing. Keep standing. Once you're up, you're up.
Yeah,
Don't sit
you're
again.
up.
Once you're up, you don't sit down.
We need new people. Who drinks?
I saw a couple standers. That's
That
all right.
lady over
It's
there,
all right. There's some overlap in those questions, by the way.
Yeah.
They're not running because they're drinking. Okay. Next question.
Watch an hour or more of television per day, which, by the way, Oz, this is totally wrong. Because after your show, what do you mean we can't watch Inside Edition with Deborah Norville?
Yes, everyone watches Deborah. The question is if you watch me after her.
We can't watch the news?
It's not that. We don't want people sitting for long periods of time, and this is just a way of asking the question. If you're doing little exercises while you're watching, God bless you, keep doing it, and you should. Even good posture is an exercise, but we got a lot of folks with this question.
I have that skirt in the black and white stripe. I wore it the other day on the show.
It's beautiful.
And very inexpensive.
Is it?
Yes.
We're going to trade notes later on. All
Okay.
right, next
look,
question.
Eat a lot of red meat, processed or refined foods. Don't lie. Stand.
All right, we got a couple lectures, and there are few that are. The last stragglers, will they answer this question? Are they overweight?
Well, that's subjective.
It is.
Yeah.
But if you happen to know your body mass index, and you know what the definition of that is, they're nurses, they know. More than 30, you got to stand.
So your whole audience is standing.
There's no, there are a couple. There are a couple.
Oh, sitting
Thatcher,
down.
yeah, we need to get a camera up there. There's only like 2 people, and they're next to each other.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So,
You're gonna live.
do any of these questions apply to you in your past life?
Well, in my past life, I was overweight. Now I weigh a healthy 145 at 5 feet 11. Yeah. And also that thing about TV, totally wrong to me. Like I watch TV, I watch at least 5 or 6 hours of TV per day.
See, I watch a lot of TV, but I usually am doing something physical. For example, when you're doing it on a treadmill work or a flywheel, whatever you're doing, you're watching something. I'm okay with that. It's the sedentary this that I get worried about because people don't realize how long they watch. Come. You disagree. It's all right. But anyway, the point I want to make today is maybe the most important point I'm going to make all year on this show. So no matter your age, your size, your shape, everyone standing, all of you standing right now are at increased risk for heart disease. I want that just in the back of your mind. And Wendy's so passionate about this, she teamed up with Burlington Stores and Women Heart. It's a national coalition for women with heart disease who want to talk about it with each other. It makes a difference when women with heart disease talk. So tell us why you're so passionate about this.
Well, for my age, I want to live. Life is good as long as you can keep it going. And Burlington has teamed up with Women Heart. And what I like about that combination is that, you can take a picture, and then for every selfie that you take, it's a healthy heart selfie. Use the hashtag. Burlington will donate $1. And it's all to educate women about heart disease.
Well, may I take the first?
Sure.
Oh, I love this. I even got my own phone. How lucky I am. I gotta oh no, I have it on video. Don't you hate when people mess up you?
Oh.
There we are. Jeez. All right. Now I get a picture of my own selfie. I want to kiss. All right. Wait, sticking around when we come back. Surprising heart attack triggers and what you can do to stop a heart attack before it happens.
Coming up next, I help Wendy get a handle on heart attack triggers.
Your grip strength is a predictor of your heart disease.
How am I gripping?
Everything you need to know before a heart attack occurs.
You used to shovel the snow?
Yes!
Coming up next.
What's up with negative calorie foods?
As soon as you start eating them, you start getting this extra burn.
Can you really chew your way thin? And the dangerous diet trends you have to see to believe. All new Oz.
That's coming up on Monday.
We're back with Wendy Williams. She's here to reveal the surprising heart attack triggers that you need to know so you can stop a heart attack before it happens. Now, stress, as you all know, is a pretty common trigger. What do you do for the stress in your life? You're doing lots of things these days.
Well, life is very stressful, but I like to watch TV. I like to read magazines. I like to cook something. I enjoy grocery shopping. And I don't enjoy working out, and it does not relieve stress. It makes me stressful.
They all agree with you.
I know I'm not alone. Like, I hate when people say, oh my gosh, it relieves stress. No, I'm stressed, white knuckle driving to the gym. But by the time I finish, I feel like, ooh, I've accomplished something. But, I really do know how to sit down and take a chill pill. So that's how I relieve my stress.
So you help me reveal some of these hidden triggers. People don't even realize they're there.
Sure.
All right, come on, we'll do the first one.
Okay.
Who does the shoveling in your house when the snow comes down big and heavy?
Come on now.
I know it's not you.
Yeah, it's, we have a shoveler.
You're a shoveler? You don't send your son out there to shovel?
No, he's busy doing homework. These kids are stressed out. 15, a sophomore in high school. Where am I going to go to college and all that?
My son's the same age as yours. You know what I always tell him? Honey, whenever I give you something I didn't have growing up, I take from you something I did have.
What?
My dad always made me go out and shovel the snow. And who knows, maybe
So
that's
did
why.
my dad.
You used to shovel the snow?
Yes!
Oh, I
and
love
rake
that.
the leaves.
You did that too?
Oh my gosh, my father's phrase was 15 sheets. He'd spread out sheets in the backyard, and me and my brother.
I love this.
15 sheets.
I love this. You got to make your son go out and shovel snow and rake leaves. But
I know.
for everybody else out there, pay attention. I'm going to explain why it turns out I get so busy in the wintertime as a heart surgeon. Because it turns out when you go outside, it's not just the hard work of the shoveling, it's what happens inside your body. Let's run this animation. So as you exert yourself in the cold weather, inside your heart, see that big artery? That artery shrivels down because of the cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know how your fingers get cold? The artery does too. All the arteries shrink, so your blood pressure goes up. At the same time, your heart's working hard to pump the blood so you can shovel, and there's no blood going to it because the arteries are all shriveled down. So what happens? Inside, the plaques that may already exist crack. Your body puts a scab on the crack, which of course causes a heart attack, which is what you don't want.
But you want me to shovel?
No, I was not you, your son. So it's like a punch to your heart. Does he have a bad little bruise over there?
Yes!
You don't want to be that person.
I don't want him to be that person either.
He's 15. He doesn't have the plaque yet. He'll be fine.
Okay,
He builds
fine.
character.
Oh, good. Okay, yes, you're right.
So I've got a question for all nurses in the audience. How many of you see an increase in people having heart attacks in the wintertime? Let me see. Yeah, most of you.
Yeah.
You know, guess what? In the wintertime, 53% increase.
Oh my gosh.
That many more heart attacks in the winter than the summer. And I'm not against shoveling. What I'm against is people going out to shovel when they haven't done anything all year long and they haven't gotten checked out. And we're going to talk about how to check yourself out in a second.
Okay.
But this is one. Second big, if you're huffing and puffing and having chest pain, you can stop shoveling too. That's sort of nice to do.
Right.
But it's the classic story. You know, my husband was outside shoveling, or I was outside shoveling, and I developed shortness of breath.
Yes.
And that's a good warning to us. Second big issue has to do with something very simple. Will you shake my hands? Will everyone shake the hands of the person next to them? Your grip strength is a predictor of your heart disease.
How am I gripping? How am I gripping?
How you doing? You're gripping just fine.
Thank
nice
you.
and strong and
Yes.
like a shoveler and a raker.
Yes. I'm a hardy woman from Jersey. I'm hardy.
Now, here's the interesting thing. You know, people with weak grip strength have more heart attacks. And so it probably makes sense to exercise your grip a little bit.
Well, a lot of women feel that if you give a hello, nice to meet you, all delicate, that's feminine. No, it's not. Be a boss. Grip up.
And look at these guns. Speaking of that, look at these.
A little something, Oz.
I like it.
A little something.
All right, 15 minutes a day with the balls. The
love
third
this.
trigger, big meals. Big meals.
Not 7 small meals in a day?
No, you want to have 7 small meals, but if you eat a really big meal, how many of you guys do this? Audience members, raise your hands if you can eat so much of this sitting that you can't even breathe anymore. Yeah, we've all been there, right? The classic Thanksgiving meal. You know what's interesting? For about 2 hours after you have a big meal, your chance of having a heart attack quadruples. It goes up 4 times.
Oh.
Do you ever have huge meals like that?
Not anymore. I haven't in a very long time. No, I eat small meals per day, like even a sandwich. I'll eat half a sandwich, and then 2 hours later, I'll eat the other half a sandwich. My mouth waters as I think about what I'm going to eat after this. And then I pick.
You should pick. You're doing all the right things. In fact, you're doing everything brilliantly. We're going to stay together. When we come back, we're going to answer the heart health questions you guys have been asking us. Stay here. Coming up next, Wendy helps me out.
How you doing?
answering your biggest heart health questions.
All of these things increase your risk of heart disease.
We're arming you with the tools you need to combat heart disease.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Coming up next.
We are back with Wendy Williams. She's in the audience taking your biggest heart health questions. Joining us to help answer them, cardiologist Dr. Suzanne Steinbaum. She is the director of Women and Heart Disease of Lenox Hill Hospital here in New York City. Wendy, take it away. Host the show.
I love it. Okay. First up, what's your name? Where are you
My
from?
name is Kia. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Hi, Kia. What's your question?
My question is, we know the age to take a mammogram or pap smear. When should we start taking heart tests?
Dr. Suzanne?
All right. So when it comes down to screening, it's important to remember your heart. And it's really getting your cholesterol checked, your sugars checked, your blood pressure checked. And that really should start at age 20.
What?
And again, yeah. Especially if you have a family history.
Oh my
especially with a family history. And then again at age 35 and every 1 to 2 years unless there's some kind of change.
Thank you, Dr. Suzanne. Okay. Okay, next.
Thank you.
How
you doing? Norma Rogers, President of New Jersey State Nurses. I'm here with the members of New Jersey State Nurses Association. Okay, if you have heart disease in your family, at what point and what test should you have done regularly?
See, that's a complex question because when you have heart disease, all the rules change. Of course, you get all the tests that Suzanne spoke of earlier. But one little thing I've been recommending to a lot of, especially female patients, because it's harder to figure out if they have heart disease, is actually look. We have technology now to help us look without being invasive. So an ultrasound of your carotids, so easy to do. You can even get, it has some radiation to it, but
Who does that?
A cardiologist will do it, but radiologists have setups as well. And then you can also get a scan of your heart if you don't mind a little bit of the radiation, and that's an easy way of seeing that there's calcium in the arteries.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's continue. I like your freckles.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Michelle. I'm from Rhode Island.
Okay, Rhode Island. What's your question?
My question is, I smoked for almost 10 years. I quit almost 2 years ago. And I was wondering, would my heart ever regain its strength?
How old are you?
25.
Hit it.
I love you stop smoking. Real quick answer. You're, within days, everything starts getting better. It takes about a year for your stroke rate to go back to zero. It takes more like 5 years to lose the heart disease risk. But by the time you've done it in a few months, the risks are so much lower than they were that I think you're sort of out of the woods.
You said you're 25? You've been smoking since you were 15? She's
But
that
she stopped.
girl.
But she stopped.
Let's get another one. Yeah, good for you. All right, come on. Dr. Oz, your audience is so steep. I'm so scared to fall.
Hi, Dorian Vicente, New Jersey State School Nurses Association and New Jersey State Nurse Association. I have a question. In my family, high cholesterol runs in the female side. How long does it take to lower your cholesterol after you've changed your diet? Is it like weeks or months?
So when you really, really make lifestyle changes and change your diet, within 6 weeks, you can really see changes in the blood tests.
Wow, that's fantastic. Who knew?
Fast. It's really fast.
Okay, do we have one more? Okay, here we go. How you doing?
Do you want me to hold? Oh, you're going to hold.
She's so smart.
My name is Megan, and I'm from Waukegan, Illinois. And Dr. Oz, you are a former surgeon of mine, and I'm so grateful.
Well,
thank you very much. Yes.
He's a hero.
He's amazing. He's amazing. I was wondering if there's any female-specific diseases or disorders that we might have that might put us at greater risk for heart disease.
What we know now is that what happens in a woman's lifetime affects her heart. It's not just what goes on when she's postmenopausal, it's really her entire life. And what we've learned is that what happens during pregnancy can increase your risk of heart disease later in life. Also with women, autoimmune diseases, inflammatory diseases, which is more common in women
Thyroid
than men.
disease would be part of that?
It could be. It could be. Okay. Increases your risk of heart disease.
So Wendy, we've uncovered a lot to talk about today. What can we do to help?
Well, stop into any Burlington store and donate at the checkout to support Women Heart.
I love you for being here. Wendy Williams. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Next, actress Megan Good and her husband on staying celibate for 1 year.
Kudos to you. I think it's superhuman what you did. But
Thank you.
Why they chose to remain abstinent before their marriage.
Take the power back, and it's okay to wait.
Practical benefits of waiting. Next.
What's up with negative calorie foods?
As soon as you start eating them, you start getting this extra burn.
Can you really chew your way thin? And the dangerous diet trends you have to see to believe. All new Oz.
That's coming up on Monday.
Abstinence before marriage may not be for everybody, but one Hollywood couple made headlines when they decided to abstain from sex for over a year. Everyone had an opinion. Some even doubted if they could pull it off. Now, happily married for nearly 4 years, please welcome actress Megan Good and her movie producer husband, Devon Franklin. Thank you for being here. Devon, honor was mine. How are you? Come have a seat. Come. Well, I was particularly curious about your headlines because we just finished talking about cryptic pregnancies. So I thought you're abstaining, you won't have that problem.
There won't be any cryptic pregnancies.
So, Meg, let me start with you. What contributed to your decision to remain celibate before marriage?
The biggest thing for me was that, you know, having been in relationships before and kind of doing the same thing and feeling like I was getting the same result, I wanted, first, I believe spiritually that that's what I should have done, and that was always my conviction. But at that point in my life, I was like, I'm just tired of doing the same thing and feeling like you know a certain person a certain way, and then here it is 2-3 years down the line, you realize you don't really know that person the way that you could if the physical aspect of it wasn't involved and you were able to see clearly. So
I'm curious if you had to talk Devon into it. I hear from you. Was it a difficult decision for you to abstain?
No, I mean, it's actually quite the opposite. You know, I was celibate, you know, and it's in the book. I was celibate 10 years before her and I got together.
So just before you go on, I did see that in the book, and I was so surprised by it.
Right.
I have about 5 questions on that experience.
Was that right?
What do you do for 10 years? What was that about?
You work out a lot.
You work it out.
You do a lot of prayer.
You work it out.
That's right.
You focus on your career. You know, as a man, it was 2 reasons for me. One was spiritual. The other one was practical. And you know, my day job is I produce films and have been in Hollywood. But my side job, so to speak, is I preach and I minister. And I didn't want to live this double life of telling people how to live, but then privately doing something different. So spiritually, I wanted to just be in sync.
Well, kudos to you. I think it's superhuman what you did. But
thank you.
So, because you guys are both so high profile, it became pretty public, and there was a reaction. Folks questioning, wondering. Megan, how did you deal with that?
You know, it's interesting because we didn't intend for it to kind of like, well, we didn't expect all the kind of hype around it. It was really one of those things where someone asked me, you know, what's going on in my life? And I said, listen, I just got a relationship. I'm going to be celibate. The next guy that I date, that's going to be my husband. That's it. And that kind of is what went viral. And then the conversation continued and kind of changed everything in my life. So.
Well, I looked into it, but it's actually more common than I would have expected. It's about 1 in 30 couples remain celibate until they get married. That's 5 million couples vowed to wait. And there are probably some good parts about it. So Megan and Devon have written this fantastic book about this experience. It's called The Wait, for good reason. It's a big wait. And I want them to share with you the practical benefits to waiting, the ones you argue about in the book. So first off, we're going to talk a little bit about knowing your partner better. See, I would think if you're intimate, you'd really know them well.
Right.
You argue the opposite.
I think it is the opposite, because I think what happens is you meet a person, you're attracted to them obviously in more ways than one, but when you get physical, as the relationship persists, you begin to kind of make excuses for certain things because you're so connected to them emotionally. And the difference for us, you know, for me, for this time around, is I was able to see who he was clearly and be able to say, is this someone I could spend the rest of my life with? I mean, I'm talking
like
5, 10, 20 years down the line. And so it was just totally different experience.
Well, the chemical handcuffs aren't quite as tight in some ways.
Yeah.
Devon, one of the points you make, second big tip, is that you can take back control. So how does this put you back in control if you're celibate? How do you take back that power that you want to have in life?
Yeah, because so many times, especially in this world we live in, and you know, it's this idea that, you know, if I'm gonna find love, I have to give up my body to do that. And what we have found is that when you say, no, I wanna wait, I'm not ready to do that. I'm not willing to exchange a part of who I am just to get a relationship. It's more empowering because when you do have sex with someone, it's very vulnerable. You do open up yourself to someone, and a lot of times in our experience, we found people who we come to counsel, they're giving themselves to people that they don't even know. And they're giving that power to somebody who may even be disingenuous about what they really want. So we feel like take the power back, and it's okay to wait.
The most surprising of the tips you offer is that it actually helps you deal with triggers and know those triggers. So Megan, how does it reveal triggers in a relationship?
Well, we all have insecurities. We all have past damage. We all have past pain. We all want to be accepted and loved a certain way. And I think that's one of the things too is just knowing what your insecurities are. And for me, it really shed a light, especially as we started marriage counseling and we talked about like all the things that I had no idea. I knew I was a little damaged, but not as damaged as I was. And being able to identify what those triggers were that made me want to be physical to accommodate for that or to kind of make up for that, or where I felt like I had my strength in that instead of dealing with whatever the issue might be. So I was forced to really deal with those issues, and I was forced in an amazing way to actually heal. So.
And
I love, go ahead.
Oh, and also, you know, what we found out is that it's also very practical in that, you know, sometimes you can't stay over. Sometimes you can't say, hey, you know, hug is all we can do right now, babe, because when you talk about your triggers, you have to know what are those things that will make it harder for you to keep.
I just met Superman. I love being here. There's a lot of wisdom in the book. The Wait is in stores now. We'll be right back. There it is. Beautiful picture.
Coming in February on The Dr. Oz Show. Exclusive interviews. What's next for Charlie Sheen? Jamie Lynn Sigler speaks out on her secret battle with MS. The truth behind America's biggest foods. Coming this February on The Dr. Oz Show.
Is saving money one of your New Year's resolutions in 2016? If so, there are lots of money-saving techniques out there, but this next approach may be the easiest to date. It's called the 52-week money challenge. And it's going to leave you $1,378 richer at the end of the year, and it's super easy. Here's how it works. Week 1, take literally $1, and put it in your piggy bank. Just $1. So easy to do. Now watch. Simple model. Week 2, $2. Week 3, $3. Week 10, $10. You get the pattern here, right? $11 in the 11th week. By week 20, you take $20, right? Now you put that $20 away. You've already saved $200. In fact, a little bit more. That's enough to buy something special. You may want it for a while. By week 40, when you put your $40 in there, you'll have $820. And you know what? By this time next year, you'll put that $52 into the bank, the last week, the hardest week to put it away. You'll have saved yourself $1,378. Now, that's the power. I'm just saving a little bit every day. We're going to put this simple 52-week challenge on DrOz.com. I'll be saving along with you. Spread the word. Let your friends do it as well. Remember, happy and healthy, it starts at home. And start with making a little bit of money aside for yourself. We'll see you next time.